Marriage by Wendell Berry. To Tanya. How hard it is for me, who live in the excitement of women and have the desire for them in my mouth like salt. Yet you have taken me and quieted me. You have been such light to me that other women have been your shadows. You come near me with the nearness of sleep, and yet I am not quiet. It is to be broken. It is to be torn open. It is not to be reached and come to rest in ever. I turn against you, I break from you, I turn to you. We hurt and are hurt and have each other for healing. It is healing. It is never whole. Wendell Berry is known for his environmental writing, his writings on kind of an agrarian life. He was on track to be the, English professor elite at the University of Kentucky sort of thing when he decided to leave the academy and go back to his family farm. And he has spent the rest of his life working the farm and writing about America's economy, about agribusiness, about environmental stewardship, about the importance of community and place, about the wise use of technology. He has been a prophetic voice in America around violence, around land use, around the sanctity of the human person. And he's impossible to place in so many ways. He's libertarian in his politics and yet deeply communitarian in his understanding of how people ought to live together. His writing spans genres. His nonfiction essays are challenging and have the bite and the fire of an Old Testament prophet in them. His novels and short stories frequently reflect on what it means to be a person of goodness, what it looks like when a life is well lived. And his poetry offers a beautiful blending of the sorts of themes and ideas that we see in his nonfiction and in his fiction. This poem, Marriage, draws attention to what marriage really looks like. It's dedicated to his wife, Tanya. And it starts really with a confession. How hard it is for me who live in the excitement of women and have the desire for them in my mouth like salt. This desire in the mouth like salt is an image of a deer and animals who will seek out salt, right? So you put salt licks up for deer and they'll bring them into your fields, or which is sometimes not a good idea because then they will eat your fields. Salt licks for cows, because salt's not a naturally occurring thing, so animals want it and they will seek it out and they will find things that are salty and lick it and lick it and lick it. And he begins with this confession that he has this desire for women, like this need for salt. Yet, in line 4, you have taken and quieted me. You have been such light to me that other women have been your shadows. And here the metaphors start to change from that of a wild animal seeking salt, something it can't find and that it needs, to light and shadow, something that quiets. There's a sense of taming, but not in a bad way, not in a like restrictive, like breaking the spirit of the beast sort of way, but this gentleness. You have quieted me, calmed. You've been such light to me that other women have been your shadows. You come near me with the nearness of sleep, yet I am not quiet. The sense of presence in the darkness and the tension between being quieted and still not being quiet. And then these lines, it is to be broken. What is the it here? What is the antecedent of that it? I think it's the title, Marriage. It is to be broken. It is to be torn open. That's not usually the way we think about marriage. When we think about marriage, even in as we've talked about it in literature, as an image of joining, of being brought together, what is it to imagine marriage as the thing which breaks us, which tears us open? It is not to be reached and come to rest in ever. Again, this tension between quietness, rest, and not rest. The marriage is not going to give us our happily ever after. And the confession continues, I turn against you. I break from you. I turn to you. Repentance. Turning against, turning back toward. We hurt and are hurt, and have each other for the healing. It is healing. It is never whole. Those last lines bring us to this deep truth that even in what we want most, the richest, most vibrant sort of marriages, in our deepest relationships, it's always going to be a process of hurting and healing. But there's something in this poem that almost seems to say that's actually okay, that marriage is never wholeness, and that that's maybe not even what we should, definitely not what we should expect, but maybe not even what we should be seeking. But rather know that marriage is a reconciliation that will break open, a reconciliation that will hurt and that will bring healing, a reconciliation that might hurt the other, and that through that might bring healing. It is healing. It is never whole.